Hello, Virgo, Sun, Rising, and Venus, and welcome to your reading. So, Virgo, today we're going to go over your energy as well as your person's energy. We're going to see how the both of you are currently viewing this relationship and how you guys feel about it and what actions you guys plan on taking each other's direction and are moving forward. So, with all that being said, Virgo, let's get started. I am getting the Ace of Wands. For this reading. The Ace of Wands could definitely represent an exciting new beginning. It could be full of, passion, desire, all that good stuff. But I keep getting the Ace of Wands for whatever reason. I guess we'll see why. But let's get the overall energy for this connection for Virgo, Sun, Rising, and Venus. So we do have honeymoon, okay? Enjoy the bliss of holiday time together. Honeymoon is very similar to the Six of Swords in tarot. So this could definitely represent, moving into calmer waters. So this could, indicate that recently you could have had like really big fight / argument with someone. And there's somebody here that wants to like move into calmer waters with you or move past whatever happened between the two of you. This could also represent an energy of moving on. Maybe you're moving, away from something that was very toxic and chaotic and you're moving towards something far more stable. That's a possibility. So you're either moving forward and moving on with your life towards a connection that's far more stable, or you're moving past, something that made the relationship extremely toxic and unstable, okay? So however it resonates with you in your particular situation, but let's focus on you first and we'll jump over to your person. Just keep in mind that the roles can be reversed. Okay, let's do this. How does Virgo currently view this relationship? Okay. All right, so we do have the Two of Swords, we have the Ace of Pentacles, and then we also have the King of Cups. Yeah, this doesn't feel like your energy. This feels like somebody that you're connecting with. It could be a water sign strongly, so Cancer, Scorpio, maybe even a Pisces, or an air sign, or an earth sign. Doesn't necessarily have to be the case, but before the Two of Swords comes the Ace of Swords, which basically represents, clarity. Then this person's very clear on what they want and who they want, which is basically you and this connection that they share with you. I am definitely getting that. It's you that I'm more worried and concerned about. I'm not even really worried and concerned about this person. It's you that I'm worried about. There's like a part of you that wants this, and there's a part of you that, is kind of second guessing yourself. It's basically what I'm getting. What I think it is, Virgo? Yeah, I think that's what it is. It kind of looks like you went through something before you met this individual. And whatever it is that you went through, again, before you met this individual, you kind of had like this, you kind of had this idea of what you wanted your life to look like and consist of, and it kind of looks like that didn't really have anything to do with love, to be honest, Virgo. Maybe you just wanted to kind of take that time to just be single and just kind of focus on you and live your life and not have to deal with anyone or worry about anyone. Don't get me wrong. I feel like you had every intentions of eventually settling down. It just kind of looks like this, person is showing up here for you during a time where a part of you feels like you're just not ready to settle down right now, or just yet, because there's so many other things that you want to do with your life before you actually settle down. So you kind of find yourself in the only predicament, because even though right now there's still things that you want to do with your life and accomplish and achieve before you turn around and actually settle down, it's kind of hard for you to get up and walk away from this connection, mainly because this person does have a lot that you're essentially looking for within a person. So you don't want to walk away from this connection and never find something like this again. But then you also don't want to go after this connection, then, later on finding yourself essentially regretting it because you weren't able to do X, Y, and Z with your life the way that you essentially wanted to at first. You went through something before you met this person. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you're showing up as a Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords is somebody who has been through a lot in previous relationships, or it could represent somebody who went through a really bad experience in love, and it could have just happened just one time. But I feel like after that experience, it's like you didn't really want anything to do with love. Not that you were against it, but you just didn't want anything to do with love for a little while. You know what I mean? It just kind of looks like you're not done, Virgo. It kind of looks like you're not done having fun and living your life. You know what I mean? You just kind of want to live your life and have fun, just a little bit more before you actually turn around and settle down, it just kind of looks like you don't really know what to do. Like, you don't know if you should pursue this or if you just should walk away and just continue to live your life and live it how you see fit. Like, you just don't really know what to do. It's like a part of you is telling yourself to essentially pursue this because you may not meet someone like this ever again. But then there's that other part of you that's like, but I still want to go off and do this with my life. And I want to do this and I want to do that. And I want to do it single. Okay. All right. Well, with the King of Cups coming out here, by the way, and the Queen of Cups just fell to the ground. Let me pick it up. I think it's safe to say that both of you have a lot of emotions for one another. They have a lot of emotions for you. You have a lot of emotions for them. The Ace of Pentacles is attached to the Ten of Pentacles, which speaks of a long-term committed relationship between two people, full of abundance, stability, all that good stuff. All right, let's look at this person's energy. The fact that this person's overpowering your reading here, is kind of making me feel, considering the fact that you are a Virgo, you might feel very like overwhelmed by this person, their energy. This person has some very like strong and intense energy. It's like this person's coming in, they're coming in hot. You know what I mean? It's like the best way that I could describe them and their energy. But this person, is showing up as a King of Cups. And when it comes down to like the King of Cups, a King of Cups is somebody who's able to like identify like right away if they're connecting with the one or not. Masculine energies just tend to just know this right away if the person that's sitting across from them is the person for them or not. And when it comes down to you, well, they're looking at you like you're the one. They're looking at you like you're the person that they can see themselves settling down with, possibly having a family with, maybe even getting married. Because, the Hierophant, it does represent marriage, and the Six of Cups, it does represent children. So they could basically see themselves having it all with you. Okay? Okay, as far as you're concerned, you're perfect. As far as you're concerned, they've been waiting, for someone like you to show up in their life for quite some time now, as far as they're concerned. Okay. How does Virgo feel, though, about this? Okay. Yeah, this person's like overpowering the reading here. All right. I'm going to break this person's overall energy down. Yeah, I feel like this person's coming in and they're coming in hot. To the point where I'm like barely picking up on you at this point. But we do have the Eight of Wands, we got the Sun, and then we also have the Ten of Pentacles. Okay, listen, Virgo. With the Eight of Wands coming out here, the reason why I feel you're going to be very overwhelmed by all this is because of how quickly this person's moving. You're not rushing things with them, they're rushing things with you. And it's mainly because this person's looking at you like, all right, boom, like this is my person, like I just know it, let's get this ball rolling here. So they're not going to waste any time, Virgo, when it comes down to building what it is that they want with you, which is a long-term committed relationship. Is basically what I'm gathering. Now let's focus on you and your energy really quickly here. Okay. So things are starting to like get extremely intense here, right? Between you and this person. And I think that, it's causing you to essentially feel, for one, extremely overwhelmed, but it's also causing you to feel extremely rushed to like hurry up and make a decision. Your problem is that you don't want to make the wrong decision. Like, you don't want to turn around and say, yeah, I don't want to do this, and then later on regret it. But then you also don't want to pursue this and then later on regret it because you weren't able to do X, Y, and Z with your life because you chose to settle down now instead of later. Now, I'm not entirely sure, Virgo, exactly what it is that you want to do with your life before you actually turn around and settle down. And the reason why I'm like, I don't really know what you're trying to do during your single, season, I guess. But the only reason I'm like, I don't really know what you want to do, because what I was gonna say is, whatever it is that you do want to do, maybe these are things that you can do with this person. You know what I mean? That's a possibility, because it just kind of feels like you feel like you have to sacrifice one or the other. It's either a life with them, or, your single life. It's like you feel like you have to sacrifice one or the other. So I don't really know what you really want to do with your life, or what you're trying to experience. Because if these are things that you can obviously do with this person, then that's like, that will be great. You know what I mean? But I guess it really does kind of depend exactly on what you're trying to do with your life and what you're trying to experience, if you know what I mean. Because I don't really know what you're trying to do with your life, that you feel like you got to do it only when you're single and you can't do it when you're in a relationship. So that could mean a lot of things. But it could also, mean that the things that you want to do are possibly things you could do with them. Like maybe there's like a goal that you want to accomplish and achieve for yourself. Well, those are things that you could do with this person, and you don't have to sacrifice anything. But if it's something that, maybe this person might not be comfortable with or okay with, and that's a different story, Virgo. But I guess it all depends on exactly what you want to do or experience during this, single season that you're in, that, will definitely determine if that's something that you can do with this person or not. But yeah, Virgo, it's just a torn energy that I'm kind of getting here with you. It's a very I would say a conflicting energy that I'm also getting with you, because again, it's that pull, right? To like pursue them in a relationship with them, but you're also feeling pulled towards, these things that you want to do with, your time, that you feel like, as you can't really do all of that when you're in a relationship with someone. Why? I don't know. Not really know. I'm not really sure what you're trying to do, but whatever it is you want to do, it's like you feel like you can't do that being in a relationship. A lot of you might feel like you can't really focus on your goals being in a relationship. A lot of you feel like you can't experience certain things while being in a relationship. I am getting that, but how does this person feel? Okay, so we have the Nine of Swords. Got it. We have the Eight of Swords, and then we also have the High Priestess. True pair situation here between you and this person. We do have the Hierophant to the High Priestess. Technically speaking, the Hierophant to the High Priestess, these two are considered to be married to one another. So, I mean, there's a huge possibility that marriage could come out of this entire situation, honey. Just saying. But that really does kind of all depend on you and whether or not you decide to allow it to even reach that point or not. But Virgo, this person feels like you want them, but they also kind of feel like something's kind of holding you back at the same exact time. I am definitely getting that. And with the Nine of Swords to the Eight of Swords, that creates an Ace of Swords at play, which basically represents the Sword of Truth. It also represents clarity. I don't feel like this person knows exactly what it is that's holding you back from them in this connection, but they feel like something's obviously holding you back. They just don't know what it is. Is basically what I'm gathering. Okay. What actions will Virgo take towards this person or moving forward? Okay. So we have the Star, we have the Queen of Pentacles, and then we also have the So there goes that Hangman energy. Remember when I was saying you feel like you have to sacrifice one thing for the other? It looks like you're sacrificing one thing for the other. It's basically what I'm getting. I want to see exactly what it is that you're sacrificing, though, so that way I know, are you sacrificing your single life to be with this person? Or are you sacrificing your relationship with this person to continue to remain single? Like, I want to see exactly what it is that you're sacrificing, because whatever it is that you're sacrificing, whatever it is that you're sacrificing, Virgo, it's definitely something that you feel called, I would say, to do. I feel like you're a little bit worried and concerned about how you're going to feel, in the future. I am definitely getting that. Like, am I going to regret this in the future? Or am I not going to regret this in the future? So you're making a choice, you're making a decision, and it's a choice/decision that you feel really good about. You're just kind of worried and concerned that you might regret it in the future. So let's see exactly what it is that you're sacrificing. Yeah, let's see exactly what it is that you're sacrificing. All right, tell me more about the Hangman. Okay. We have the Knight of Wands, we got the Two of Wands, we have the King of Swords, we also have the Six of Swords, and we also have the Seven of Pentacles. It looks like you're sacrificing your single life to pursue them in a relationship with them, okay? Now that, we got that all figured out, let's talk about the energy that you're going to find yourself harnessing, in the future, Virgo, and why you're going to even find yourself harnessing this energy to begin with. So in the future, I do see you kind of falling into this energy of, what the hell was I thinking? Like, what the hell was I really thinking here? You know what I mean? I am definitely getting that. I guess you can say that in the future, you're going to find yourself kind of experiencing a level of regret, but let me explain why, okay? You're giving up your single life to go be with this person. The way that you perceive your single life, you perceived it in a very, very beautiful way. You know what I mean? Like, there was no complaints coming from you as far as your single life is concerned. You basically felt like you were basically living the life. You know what I mean? So you sacrificed your single life to go and pursue a life with this person, expecting for it to be 10 times better than your single life. Later on down the line, I do kind of see you having a little bit of regret. Like, oh my God, like, what was I thinking? Why did I chose to go off and pursue a life with this person? Why did I give this up? Why did I give that up? And I feel like the only reason why you're feeling that way, and I hate to say this, Virgo, but it has a lot to do with your expectations. Your expectations of this person, as well as your relationship with this person, is very unrealistic. It's like you walked into this relationship expecting for it to be perfect, expecting for the two of you to see eye to eye on everything, to not fight, to not argue, to be happy 24/7, satisfied 24/7, and never go through anything. And once you start to experience moments of adversity with this person, that's when you're going to fall into this energy of, what the heck was I thinking? Like, what was I thinking? What was I really, really thinking? I just think that it has a lot to do with your expectations of this person, as well as your relationship with them. Don't get me wrong. I feel like this relationship provides you with things that your single life couldn't provide you with. And I feel like that in itself makes you very, very happy. But I also feel like this relationship brings certain things into your life that causes you to feel like, damn, I made the wrong decision. You know what I mean? But it's your expectations, Virgo. Like, if you didn't have these expectations, I think that you would be happy. And I don't think that you would be falling into this energy of, oh my God, what was I thinking? If you didn't have these expectations. Like, if you were a little bit more like realistic with it, you would have been happy. You would have been fine. You would have been content. You wouldn't, be falling into this energy of like, oh my God, what was I fucking thinking? Like, you wouldn't be falling into that energy. But it has everything to do with your expectations, Virgo. At the end of the day, nobody in this life is perfect. You know what I mean? So with that being said, unfortunately, nobody in this life is perfect, unfortunately, right? But it doesn't matter where you go or who you end up with. You're gonna meet somebody who's imperfect. Just like I'm imperfect, just like you're imperfect, like the cat down the road is imperfect, like we're all imperfect people. So it's like, it doesn't matter where you go or who you end up with, you're never gonna have a perfect relationship, because you will be building it with someone who's imperfect, like myself, like you, like my neighbors, like the cat down the road. You know what I mean? Like, I think that once you learn to just accept the fact that nobody in this life is perfect, and you're gonna have some trying times and you're gonna have some hard times, I think that you wouldn't perceive this choice that you made as a mistake. If that makes sense, Virgo. Because you're only perceiving this choice that you're making now in the future a mistake because you guys don't see eye to eye sometimes, and you guys are fighting sometimes, and arguing sometimes, and not getting along sometimes, and oh my God, there they go, dry humping your last nerve yet again. Like, it doesn't matter where you go or who you end up with, you're gonna go through this. Unfortunately, you're gonna go through this. But if you didn't have these expectations, oh my God, yeah, like you would have been like, okay, yeah, like, yeah, I love it. Everything's good. Everything's great. Everything's fine. Everything's okay. Like, you wouldn't look at this choice of yours in the future with so much, regret, because you're in the future. I see you looking at this choice that you're making now with a lot of regret. Like, man, what was I thinking? I should have just stayed single, But it's because of your expectations. All right. So here's the thing, Virgo. The moment this relationship doesn't fulfill you as much as your single life did, you're going to be very quick to be like, oh my God, no, I can't do this. This is ridiculous. I'd rather be single. This person is going to constantly find themselves fighting to essentially keep you in their life because of that, by the way. So that's another thing too. You're going to be the type of person that the moment things don't play out the way that you envision it to play out, you're going to be that type of person that's going to be like, you know what? I ain't got time for all this. I'd rather be single. I'd rather be doing this. I'd rather be doing that. And they're going to constantly find themselves fighting to basically keep you in their life. every single time. This person is going to basically be the gorilla glue to this relationship. In other words, they're going to be the gorilla glue to this relationship. And to be honest, the only reason why you're falling into this energy of like, no, this is too much, I can't take it, this is ridiculous, is because the things that you're having to deal with within your relationship with this person, you didn't have to deal with all of that when you were single and alone. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't have to deal with anybody dry humping your last nerve. You didn't have to deal with anybody all up in your personal bubble. You didn't have to deal with somebody all up in your Kool-Aid trying to figure out the flavor. Like, you didn't have to deal with someone constantly annoying you or pissing you off. Not saying that they're going to do it on a frequent basis or anything like that, but these are things you didn't have to deal with when you were just being single and living your life. The only person you had to worry about was yourself. You know what I mean? And all of that is essentially changing because your life is changing because of this dynamic that's in it that you're agreeing to pursue. You see what I mean? Yeah, you know, do I see this relationship actually coming to an end though? No, I don't. I'll be honest, I don't really see this relationship coming to an end, not anytime soon. I don't see this relationship coming to an end now, not anytime soon. You know, you might find yourself falling into this energy of that's it, I'm out, this is ridiculous. But you'll always find yourself back to them, vice versa, because they're always going to fight to keep you in their life. And to be honest, you're going to cave every single time. And I'm just being honest and transparent here. Because I feel like once you go back and you get a taste of your single life all over again, you're going to like it at first, Virgo, and it's going to feel good at first. But then over time, you're going to start to find yourself missing them and what you once upon a time had with them. And you won't even miss the times where they used to dry hump your last nerve. You're going to even miss that as well. You know what I mean? Believe it or not, you will find yourself definitely missing that. I am getting that strongly. So back to this energy over here, as I was saying earlier, you could be moving away from something that was extremely toxic and unhealthy, you know, for you, and moving towards something that's actually very stable, you know, for you. And again, I was picking up on the fact that you were dealing with somebody who was very toxic and unhealthy for you. So it looks like you're moving towards, you know, a healthier, you know, relationship, you know, with someone that you could have something stable with. The only reason why you know, you're gonna, you know, find yourself having some issues along the way with this particular person is for the reasons why I already basically mentioned. It's like the relationship isn't toxic because you guys are going to disagree and argue and bicker back and forth and get on each other's nerves. The relationship is not toxic. It's not toxic. It's a normal relationship compared to the other relationship that you were more than likely in that caused you to come out of that relationship as a Queen of Swords, which is kind of telling me that you suffered a lot and went through a lot with that particular person. That relationship was very toxic and unhealthy for you. But this relationship, it's actually really good for you. It's actually really healthy for you. I mean, yeah, you guys are going to fight and argue, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that makes this relationship toxic and unhealthy. It makes it a normal relationship where there's going to be high highs and low lows. You know what I mean? There's no avoiding that, you know? There's just no avoiding that, okay? Let's see what else the romance angels have to say. So we do have true love, which makes sense. I mean, we do have the King and the Queen of Cups out here. And true love basically reminds me of that combo. But we also have stay optimistic, Virgo, about your love life. Positive thinking and faith will bring you romance. Don't be so quick to dip, Virgo. Don't be so quick to dip. Like the moment this person like dry humps your last nerve, you know, let's just throw in the fact that you're a Virgo. You guys are like clean freaks. Like let's just say, for example, it gets so serious to the point where you guys get a place together, and instead of this one over here throwing their dirty clothes in the hamper, they throw it right next to the hamper. That might dry hump your last nerve. You know what I mean? You may not like that. You may not like that. You know, Virgos are clean freaks. You know, they like their house clean all the time. You know, 24/7, 7 days a week, you know what I mean? So you may not like that, and that might tick you off to the point where you're just like, oh my God, I cannot do this with this person. See, when I was single alone, I didn't have to worry about these things, but now that this person's here, you know, it's like, look at what they're doing. Like, you know, again, just using that as an example, not saying that that would set you off to the point where you would get up and walk away, but Virgo, keep in mind, you're walking into this relationship with the expectation of this better be better than my single life, because if it's not, I'm walking away. Like That's how you're walking into this relationship, regardless if you're consciously aware of it or not. That's how you're walking into this relationship. So yeah, there's a possibility that them just throwing their clothes like right next to the hamper might be enough to be like, oh, no, 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 no. See, this is not better than my single life. I got to go back. You know what I mean? Or it might be something else that they do. You know what I mean? But you're going to be watching closely to make sure that this relationship satisfies you in ways that your single life couldn't. You're going to make sure that this relationship is better than your single life, because if it's not better than your single life, it's going to be a damn problem. It's basically what I'm getting. So this is kind of like Spirit's way of saying like, yo, like, we get it, you know, you want like a, you know, a perfect relationship, but you ain't gonna get that with them. I mean, your relationship with them is gonna be better than your last relationship, but you're not gonna get a perfect relationship, not with them, not with anybody, not with anybody. Not with anybody. So don't be so quick. Yeah, just don't be so quick to like get up and walk away. You know, the moment things don't go your way, or the moment things get challenging and tough, like don't be so quick to run. All right. So that's what I have for you, Virgo. Hopefully the reading helped. Hopefully it resonated, and I will see you guys in your next reading.